The National Association of Nigerian Students on Friday said it would mobilize its members for a nationwide protest if the federal government continued its school feeding program during school closure occasioned by the COVID-19 pandemic. This is as a this as the federal government on Friday explained that it continued the national homegrown school feeding program because it was practically impossible to get back the funds that had already been paid to food vendors before the lockdowns in state commenced. The Nans president Danielson Akman, in a statement in Abuja, said the program was a misplaced priority and a discreet attempt to fleece the hard-earned resources of the country. Akman said the source of the proposed 697 million naira to be spent daily, amounting to 13.5 billion naira a month on the program, must be queried, stressing that the decision was reckless spending. He said the national body of NAS, after a deliberate and robust discussion on the federal government's decision to commence the school feeding program during a virtual meeting held on Friday morning, vehemently rejected and condemned in totality the said decision. He said, "We condemn in totality the plan to feed school children at home. We see it as an avenue to perpetuate corruption and fraudulent activities. We do not only condemn this, we also frown at any attempt by some people to further loot our national treasury. The continuation of the school feeding program at this period that schools are closed is sheer fraud. If the federal government goes ahead to implement the program, we will have no choice but to mobilize our members across the federation for a murder of all protests." Akpan called on the federal government to use the money meant for the execution of the program to revive the collapsed education system and fund infrastructural projects in institutions, explaining why the federal government went ahead with the program despite the lockdown. The Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Sadiya Umar Farouk, urged Nigerians to support the scheme. She spoke in Abuja at the daily briefing of the Presidential Task Force on Friday and stressed that government could not get back the funds it had already invested in the hands of vendors for the food items. Umar Farouk said because the program was already ongoing, food vendors had already been contracted and mobilized for the project. We are also mindful of the fact that most vendors, having been mobilized, had made purchases preparatory to the project's execution. It is just not possible to ask them for refunds. This had been done before the school calendar was disrupted. In light of this, demanding a refund will be cumbersome and unrealistic. So guys, you see these people, they will look for a way to manipulate. They will look for a way to manipulate. I don't know whether this a kind of a thing is applicable to this kind of program, because that is what is causing problem in Edo State now. Oshomole has been accused of paying 75% upfront for the contract of the hospital that was built during his time, which is not supposed to be. That is why they are dragging him. I don't know why they would have paid ahead. But when it comes to paying people salary, the government, the federal government will be owing salaries 5 months, 6 months. They don't pay people. But when it comes to this kind of a thing, very fast, they will do it. Of course, everybody knows what has been going on in this country. Some people will tell you, oh, you don't just sweep, do a sweep, just make a categorical statement and conclude. But because that is what has been happening. Because at the end of the day, even if you say, okay, you just want to be politically correct, you will see that or find out that what you have said or what people have been saying will still come to pass, because that is just the way they've been going about this whole thing. Like we've been asking, the 5,000 naira, I don't know whether it is 5,000 naira, but they just said they are going to pay through BVN during the lockdown in the first 3 places. The federal government made it compulsory. We don't know whether people got that money. We don't know. Now, they are just rushing again to go and get this program done. The question, like, I've been of the opinion that why use this money? The children are not learning anything. What is the educational level of those children? What is the quality of education the children are getting? They will tell you, oh, it's been encouraging children to go to school just to go and eat. What do they learn? They don't care about what they learn. They don't care about the output of the children, the products they are producing. It's just for you to go and eat. Even if you want to do school feeding should have been the last thing. The environment, is it conducive? Is it convenient? The teachers that are teaching the children, are they well equipped? Are they being taken care of? The teachers that are teaching them, are they being taken care of? Are you looking into their welfare? Are they being paid as at when due? Have they been upgraded? First and foremost, all those ones, those are the things that are supposed to be there. But some people say, oh, forget it. Yes, they will say forget it, but which is not supposed to be. That is why we are still where we are. Now, the first thing is that the places where these children are learning, go and check all those places. Nothing to write home about. That is the first thing they would have done across the country. But what would they do? They will leave all those areas. They will know that they will quickly make money. Of course, it's not good to just generalize, but that is what has been happening. For a responsible government, will embark on school feeding. School feeding should be the last thing. Then you will not tell us that you are doing contributing to the education in this country, whereas the children are not learning anything. You are telling us they will just go and eat. People have been saying if the economy is okay, the parents will take care of them. But even if you want to go into school feeding, that should have come last. Are the children learning anything? They are not learning anything. That is my own argument right from the beginning. But now these people are coming, Nans are coming. Now, they used to be very active. They used to be very strong. They used to be very good opposition in those days. But all of a sudden, we don't know what really happened. But we are beginning to see Nans coming out, to say the right thing, to call the attention of the government, because every other groups, they see them as being corrupt. Oh, they see them as being whatever. Of course, very soon now you're still going to be hearing people trying to castigate them, but that is just the right thing to do. Now the federal government is telling us that they've already paid upfront. They can't tell them to come back and pay to get the money back. Oh, they must have purchased. Why are you making excuses for them? They are making excuses for the vendors now, that there's no way it will be cumbersome and it is unrealistic. That's to tell you that there's no going back. Let's hear what people are saying, because it is really so sad that this kind of a thing is what we talk on a daily basis. They will know how to manipulate the whole thing. Someone said, Nans, you have the backing of Nigerians against wasteful spending, corruption, stealing, and embezzlement in style by people in government. Those thieves, rogues, and tyrants won't stop unless we rise up and face them. Now, the federal government, from on the account of the Sadia Farouk, the minister, has said that Nigerians should support it. Okay, Nigerians, they have called you to come and support this program. Someone say you have been informed, Mr. President. Nans, more grace to your able. This APC bunch of thieves have their ways of siphoning government treasury. They are trying to cover up this money. This money has been used since the beginning of the year. Feeding program was under contract. This coronavirus have exposed many things. I am surprised that the federal government of Nigeria is bent on spending such money during this time when the schools are closed. I am even also perturbed that the government can imagine to engage in such reckless expense that doesn't attract any economic benefit to the country. If 13.5 billion naira is injected into youth employment, will it not affect the economy more positively? This school feeding program is an Amajiri tradition which is not meaningful to children in the southwest. Every family caters for our children. This culture of parental responsibility should not be encouraged in the country. And that's another thing. Any little thing, they will always try to refer to UK. Ask me whether this thing is a selected thing. And now, just like I said before, they said they are going to start with about 4-5 states or 3 or 4 states. Then is it not supposed to be holistic? They have to do it holistically. Everything must go in unison. This must do everything at the same time. Because the same way, if we are doing an election, it goes at the same time. Everything goes at the same time. They will start to select, and before you know it, by June now, because they are proposing that maybe children will resume. So before you know it, it will not go round. And again, where have they been doing this school feeding? Is this something that has gone around the whole country? Is it true? And meanwhile, I recall that one of APC chieftain in Ogun State has already said this school feeding is a fraud. That is what the man said. One of the APC chieftain in APC. in Ogun State has said that this school feeding is a fraud. This ministry is living according to its name, disaster. Scammer, house-to-house feeding. Nigerians, wake up. What happened to the money they said they have shared to vulnerable Nigerians? We need answers. No, they said they cannot tell you the people, or they cannot say publish the names of the people they've been the money have been given to. So that is no go area. They will just look for one thing to counter all of these things, that you have paid ahead, you have paid up front. It will be unrealistic and cumbersome to get this money back, because these people must have purchased a lot of things. You can imagine this kind of a mentality. Okay, Nans, go ahead. You have the backing of all of us who mean well for Nigeria. I think school feeding is another way of looting and embezzling Nigeria money. Why is it not possible to get the funds back? Who are vendors? Please, we need transparency. If really there is a fight against corruption, the minister in charge of this should be removed from the office. That our office is a waste. The Amajiri children that are being fed are still the same people being moved in food trucks aimlessly. Is there anywhere in the world such a thing is heard? APC government now. Wow, even the schools were on. If the school were on, were they feeding anyone before? Whether they are feeding them, it is all, it's true, because it is this amajiri of a thing. They will tell you, oh, I think there was a statement credited to the woman the other time that, oh, those who are in the south, they have people abroad. I don't know. And since then, they've not even debunked it. You can imagine this whole thing you are doing, it will not go around. They will start from some places, and before you know it, at the end of the day, nothing will happen again. So, guys, let us hear your opinion. Some people are saying, oh, what the Nans is doing, that they are in support of it. Do you think they should go on strike? Do you think this money will be recovered, since they have already made their point that nothing is going to it's not going to be realistic for them to get this money back? What do you think? Just let's have your take on it in the comment section.